Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast. Coming up, why our military can't be trusted on dating apps.
Also, is it ever okay to lie to your best friend? And more on the Worst of the Riot podcast.
I don't know if you've seen this in the last few days, Isaiah. I've even heard people talking about this when I was out and about yesterday. The Dogecoin is going through the roof.
Believe it or not, as I was driving in this morning, I had gotten an email from my Robinhood app. Just like I was checking my email and I was
While
like,
you were driving.
Well, I was driving. And so I flip over to my Robinhood app. I'm like, do I even have any money in here? It's like an investing app.
Yeah.
But I thought I took all my money out of it.
Yeah, so did I after they seemed to scam us all out of our GameStop money years ago.
Precisely. And so then I look and I have $30 in there. And I'm like, well, that just seems pretty pointless. I'm like, why is there $30 in here? And it was from when I put money into Dogecoin like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I was like, why is my money spiking? I must have put $5
Yeah,
into
there's no
this.
chance you did $30 back in the day. But I feel like a lot of people could be having that same similar experience. I got to check my Robinhood app because I have the exact same. I know that because Dogecoin was popular at that same time as like the game, as everybody had the Robinhood app and was doing the game stock trading and the AMC trading and whatever. And now it's paying off for people because Dogecoin in the past month, it's gone up 134%. So that's over double. And in the past, and then you look like the past 6 years, it's gone up 186, or 6 months, I should say, it's gone up 186%. So you've almost tripled your money versus what you would have had 6 months ago, anything you put into Dogecoin. And so now the question for people is, of course, are they going to invest more, keep riding the high, or is this where you sell? Does everybody hold? Like, what do we all do with our newfound wealth from Dogecoin that we bought years ago?
I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money.
Yeah. You're not an investment expert.
But there seems to be the rise and the eventual fall of Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Which seems to always be a thing. It's been like 5 years. It's been 3 years since Dogecoin has been relevant.
Yeah.
That was the last time. And this high has not reached the previous high.
And how did that other high go? What goes up must come down. A giant crash.
And if you also just log into your Robinhood app and you think, oh my gosh, it's up so much, and you didn't know you had money in here, it is still down from the last time that you bought.
That's probably true.
So you have lost money.
I also think, too, a pretty good smart guy to listen to, Warren Buffett, when it comes to investments. And he was saying something I was reading about, like, he is a little skeptical of all of these. Maybe this is all smoke and mirrors to try to get you to not invest so he can invest. But he was saying he's skeptical of some of these, the crypto.
Warren Buffett said that? You're talking about a standard trader is against crypto?
Yeah, but he
that
said,
seems unbelievable.
Because it's like, he said he compared it to a casino because there's no actual anything. There's no trends. There's no stats. There's nothing you can actually predict about how it will go. It's just you're just riding a wave and you don't know how it's going to go. Whereas stock market's more predictable, but less volatile. So less chance to hit a jackpot yet again, like a casino. But hey, check that Robinhood app. See if you have any Dogecoin from years ago that might be worth something now.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram at RadioU Riot.
We're in the midst of useless knowledge. Today's theme all about Cheeto Puffs. Isaiah, has your useless knowledge question of the day?
What was the original name for a cheese doodle? A cheesy puff.
I was going to guess, ironically, I think it would be called a cheese-it.
A good guess. One of our listeners, Derek, extremely close. He went cheese curl. The original name, when it was created back in the 1930s, corn curls.
Corn curl. It doesn't sound quite as appetizing.
Right? It's because they were made with a lot of corn.
Yeah.
Made sense back then.
It does make sense.
Let's do some rapid fire. It was created At the Flakehall Corporation in the early 1930s, they created corn curls. They were best known at that company for making flaky pet food. In which state was this company located?
Minnesota.
No! No!
Wisconsin. Very close. Very
It was
close.
right there.
The second most commonly cited inventor is Elmer Candy of New Orleans, Louisiana. Around 1936, and Elmer's Fine Foods still sells these cheese doodles under what name? Much better name.
The cheese poofers.
Wait for it. Here it comes.
Cheewees. He's selling Cheewees.
Cheewees. I love it.
How about a little bit of Cheeto knowledge here? The original mascot for Cheetos was not Chester. It was actually a different animal. What animal is this?
Well, since it's cheese, it makes sense. It was a mouse. Wow.
Correct. An unnamed mouse was the original mascot.
Not quite as fun.
It wasn't nearly as fun, they said.
But there's also just there a little overcrowding of the market when it comes to mice.
They're everywhere.
You think about Mickey, you think about Fievel, you think about the Great Mouse Detective.
Ratatouille.
That's right. There's just too many. There's only one cheetah. That's useless knowledge for today.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
I got a woman here. This is just dastardly behavior. A woman in Mexico. She's accused of paying 3 men to go ahead and throw red paint on what would be her future daughter-in-law. But they weren't just throwing paint on her on any day. They were about to throw red paint on her wedding day while she was in her wedding dress. The whole
That ain't no good.
No good. No good. Trying to ruin the wedding. The whole idea was, I suppose, maybe if we throw the red paint on her wedding dress and ruin the dress before the wedding, she can't get married without the perfect wedding dress. And so they'll have to call it off.
They'll have to call off the wedding?
Because of the dress with the red paint.
The show must go on.
Yeah.
You're not stopping everything. Now it's just a part of the wedding.
Yeah, it's unique. And you just got to roll with it. And also, I don't know if the woman that paid, she is the woman that paid, allegedly, is the mother of the son that's trying to get married to this young lady.
So the mother-in-law?
Yeah, well, it would be the mother-in-law, but she and her family in general not approving. This wasn't the first stunt that they had pulled to try to scare this young lady away from their son and try to call things off, try to get this wedding to not take place. They had pulled other stunts before, and this was like their last-ditch effort, I suppose, on the day of the wedding, throwing red paint on the woman's wedding dress. But clearly, this woman never seen a movie, because what happens in the movie, they show, it's like, well, it's not about the dress, it's about love, and they still get married anyways. Even if nobody's there and they don't get to have the beautiful wedding they imagined, it's about love. And I guess that's what happened, because they did get married.
It did go on. The show did go on.
The show went on. Yeah, they're happily married. Yeah.
How much do you think she paid to have the red thrown on her?
Yeah.
How much would a couple of evildoers have to get paid to throw paint on a woman on her wedding day?
It seems like it's not that big of an undertaking. A lot of times when you're like paying criminals, hitmen, and whatever, you're paying them not just for the deed that they have to do, but the risk that they inherit by doing it instead of you doing it. But I don't think this isn't even a crime, is it? Is it a crime to throw?
I think it's a crime.
You think it'd be called assault? Maybe?
I think it'd be called assault.
Possibly,
yeah.
but
you throw paint on somebody, that's assault. Especially if it's their wedding day, you're for sure getting arrested.
Possibly. So some kind of risk, but I feel like these ne'er-do-wells probably didn't charge a whole lot, right?
I feel like it could be a pricey endeavor.
You think so?
Yeah, because this just seems immoral. This
Yeah.
seems really wrong. There's a lot of things you can do,
Mm-hmm.
but this just seems like it's her big day. This is like one of the days she's been looking
Yeah.
forward to her whole life. So to be the guy who's ruining that
Uh-huh.
feels like you had to pay me a lot of money.
Yeah. Or they had to find some thugs that just had no heart at all. That just did not believe in love. Maybe they've been burned. Maybe they've been scorned in the past. And so maybe they did it free of charge. They're like, hey, I know what it's like, and I'm trying to save your son. I'll help you. I'll do this pro bono to save your son from having his heart ripped out by this woman here. You got to wonder, too, why it took 3 people to throw red paint.
Full coverage. You want full coverage.
Yeah, you do. You don't want anything left to chance. Well, one of them presumably they were filming to make, I guess, for evidence to prove to the person who paid them allegedly that they actually went through with it. So I guess that's why. But still, 3 seems like a little overkill. It feels like a one-man job, 2 at most. But no good. No good. Once it gets to the wedding day, you let it be. You let it ride.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
But I will tell you that I was talking to Tyler. He had one of them yesterday, too, Big Country. And we agreed. He was like, they shouldn't have put the Cinnabon name on it. Because then you think you're getting a Cinnabon from, like, it's going to taste like you're getting a Cinnabon from the mall.
True.
And it's definitely not that. But it doesn't mean it's bad. Go check out the full food fight to see what we thought on the Radio Uriah YouTube channel or Facebook page. And speaking of eating Cinnabons and Wendy's, is this good news or bad news? According to a new study, obesity is now a greater risk to global health than hunger for the very first time.
I can't be sure which horn to raise here. The foghorn,
Yeah.
the shocking horn.
Uh-huh.
Is it good or bad? I don't know.
Yeah, globally, we are now more fat than we are hungry. And in the past, that has never, ever, ever been the case. So I feel like it's progress, right?
I don't know if it is.
Well, wait a minute. We have to think about it this way.
Okay.
It depends on how many people are hungry. Because if the amount of people that are hungry, it depends.
It's relatively the same.
Yeah, if it's staying
And everybody
steady,
else is just fat now.
yeah, then that's horrible news.
It's awful
But
news.
if this is the amount of obese people is staying steady and the amount of hungry people is going down, that's good news.
That is good news.
So, but I feel like that's not the case. It says that obesity rates have quadrupled in the last 30 years. So that doesn't sound like the hungriness is going away. It's just the fat are getting fatter. And it's not good for our global health as a human race.
And you think about this too. One of the big notes on this
Mm-hmm.
is it doesn't mean that everybody's just rolling in the dough. Because as you know,
Mm-hmm.
the healthy food is the most expensive.
That's true. You ever try to buy fruit? Good luck.
Expensive.
Yeah.
Vegetables,
Mm-hmm.
expensive. Any kind of healthy food
Mm-hmm.
is going to be more expensive than the cheaper version. That's an issue.
Yeah. Which doesn't make a lot of sense either to me. Like you think, what do they say is the food that's bad for you? Stuff that's ultra processed. Why does it cost so much? Why is it so cheap to process things and so expensive to not process them? Riddle me that.
We can't be sure.
Yeah. I know.
It goes the same thing for my dog food.
Yeah.
The cheapest dog food is the worst dog food you can give to your dog.
Yeah, that's true.
And we wonder why all of our dogs are fat.
Yeah. Yeah, it can't be. That has always been confusing to me as well. But so now the question is, let's figure this out, Isaiah. How do we fix this?
How do we fix it?
Yeah,
Start eating healthier? Taking in less sugar?
that's what we can do.
Tell people to stop drinking pop?
Yeah.
But this is the thing, no matter what we say, it doesn't matter. It's not like you don't know how to fix it.
Yeah,
Everybody knows how to
that's
lose
true.
weight.
Everybody in the United States knows how to be healthier.
You
And
do.
It's just it's a few things maybe that are out of your control, but largely, and I'm talking about like your eating habits. I'm talking about like if some people are just obviously, like destined to be larger than others, but there's you can control how you eat, and we all know how to eat the healthy way.
But you get to a point in your life where maybe I don't want to control it.
Yeah,
Maybe I want to drink pop and eat dessert and do whatever I want.
Oh, I know people like that. You get to a certain age, you just hit a certain spot in life, and you're like, I guess I'm close enough to the end anyways. I might as well just eat what I want. And
Would
be
I
happy.
rather be skinny or eat pie?
Yeah.
Pie.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
If I told you military man has been charged by the Department of Justice for sharing highly classified info on a dating app, you're probably thinking like a private, just got his start, 18 years old possibly, on Tinder, trying to seem important. But then again, how would he have highly classified information at such a low rank? So then you think it's got to be much sadder than that, even sadder than that. I have a guy here, a retired U.S. Airman, David Franklin Slater, 63 years old, from Nebraska. He was arrested earlier this week, charged with transmitting classified material. Apparently, he had gotten on some foreign dating site and was just giving up
Oh, no.
classified info. And wait till you hear the questions that was being asked of him by this supposed woman that he was corresponding with on this foreign dating app. She was asking questions like, American intelligence says that already 100% of Russian troops are located on the territory of Ukraine. Do you think this information can be trusted? Like romantic talk like that.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
How is he in charge of anything? How is he even given this knowledge?
Yeah, is classified.
He can't figure out he's talking to a robot?
Clearance.
How is that even possible?
She went on to say things like, "Dear, what is shown on the screens in the special room? It is very interesting. Beloved Dave, do NATO and Biden have a secret plan to help us?" And he was answering these questions. This wasn't a little bit of a giveaway that maybe this wasn't a romantic interest that really had any interest in him whatsoever.
And he's so easily flipped sides on
Yeah,
us.
he did.
He
just gave it
backstabbed
all
us
up.
all.
He gave it all up.
Just another opportunity to show just the weakness of men. Men are just so weak, so easily manipulated.
Yeah.
It almost, and this is one of those times, it's happened so frequently in the military where they're like giving up codes or their location, and it's always because of Tinder. You're letting these women take advantage of you. And in this case, it's not even a real woman.
Yeah.
It's like a computer.
At least in the
or
movies.
Maybe a dude.
At least in the movies, it's like difficult for, like the woman has to actually be there in person and like seduce the man.
Like
this guy
like
was talking to nobody.
Like Hercules, like we get it. Like
yeah,
Meg,
right.
You got to meet her. She
Yeah.
seemed like she was all into you. I understand.
Yeah.
This one over the phone, over the text, makes no sense to me.
I don't know, but how could you resist a message like, Dave, it's great that you get information about Country Redacted. First, I hope you will tell me right away. You are my secret agent with love.
My secret little agent.
How would your knees not just buckle when you get messages like that?
And you know that obviously Dave here, he's fired.
Yeah.
And they have to replace him.
He committed a crime.
Oh, yeah, they have to replace him with a female. There's no way.
That'd probably be smart,
There's no way you can hire another man in this role at this point. You need to put a female there because she's not going to be so easily manipulated like a man would. Unbelievable, Dave. Putting us all into shame here.
Yeah. That's the other thing you got to think about is like whatever country was responsible for this, getting him to give up this info. They must think we're such idiots.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Russia's looking at us Just like, what a bunch of dopes.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Chime in on this one at 8772-RADIO-U. Even the Riot hotline could be appropriate.
8772-RADIO-U.
Dune came out this weekend, right? Dune Part 2, massive movie, made a lot of money, very well reviewed. People are excited about it. It's kind of one of the first big movie events in a while. One of the first big, like, really exciting sequels in a while. And so I have here a friend of mine that him and another friend had agreed when the Dune Part 2, when it was announced and everything, we're going to go, but we can't go opening weekend because one of them wasn't available. So we're going to go, like, they're going this coming weekend. But the other, like, the friend could not wait.
What do you mean?
Could not wait. It's such a big thing. Didn't want to wait until this coming weekend to see Dune Part 2 for the first time. So he went and saw Dune Part 2 solo without the other buddy. And now it's like, does he tell the other guy? Was he wrong to do that, to not just hold out a week and wait? Obviously, I think we can agree on this. If it's your girlfriend, you don't do that.
Horrible idea.
Yeah, you would never. But when it's just us guys, when it's just a couple of bros, is it okay to movie cheat on them and go see it without them? And then if you do, then what's the protocol after that? Do you confess, or do you try to play it cool and hope they don't notice that you've already seen everything that's happening?
You got to confess.
You gotta fess up.
I think you tell them straight up. Because if it was me, I would be upset. You know, I'd be like, "Are you joking?" But I wouldn't be like beside myself. Now you've ruined my whole weekend.
Right? You're not gonna. What's he gonna do? Break up with you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be your friend anymore.
Yeah.
Because you saw the movie on Wednesday and you didn't wait for me.
Right.
So I would say you gotta tell them straight up that you went and saw it, and hopefully you're still willing to go see it again.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, that opens the door for them to invite somebody else.
Ooh. Yeah.
That hasn't seen it yet.
That could be the little dig at you. I feel like, I think I just play it cool.
Oh, here we go.
I think I could just.
You're gonna lie.
I think it's not lying. Unless they ask me, did you see this already?
And then you're gonna lie.
And then if they can tell that clearly that I've seen it already, then I might as well just confess. But I mean, how would it come up that you've already seen it? You just don't say anything.
It always comes up.
How would it come
Hudson.
up? All you have to do is make it to the theater for the second viewing. You just got to keep your mouth shut, and then you've both seen it. And so then all you have to do is sitting through the movie. You have to not go, "Oh, really watch this part." You go, "Oh, this is going to be good." You just keep your mouth shut. I know for some people like us that might be more difficult, but you just keep your mouth shut. And nobody's the wiser.
But it's not that big of a deal. Why are you lying about something that's not a big deal? You could just tell them.
You could just tell them. But if it's not a big deal, why do they need to know?
Well, it's like lying for something. You're making it a big deal by lying.
By keeping it a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
you
would
just
hurt
said the
much
truth
more
in the
if they
beginning.
discover the truth on their thing.
Exactly.
Hey, what's this ticket stub in your pocket?
Where were you on Wednesday nights?
Yeah. What did you do?
Or one time you can't help yourself from saying, "Oh no, I've seen it twice."
Yeah.
And you go, "You saw it twice. When was the other time you saw it?"
Yeah, you accidentally blurred out the first time I saw it, I wasn't expecting that to happen. The second time, wait a minute. I think I could play it. I think I could play it cool. I think I'd just keep it a secret. But I understand the urge to go see it the opening weekend, because it just feels different too. Seeing it at the opening weekend, everybody's all excited, all hyped up. And maybe, I guess that could be an argument for why the first time you're seeing it should be with your friend, so that you both have those feelings.
Because I don't like watching movies with people that have already seen it.
Why not?
I want us all to experience it together. You know what's coming, and it doesn't make it as much fun for me. I feel like I'm the one in the dark. It's a different movie watching experience. I like when we're all figuring it out together.
Mm.
I routinely, if I'm watching movies with like my roommate or Eden on the weekends, if they've already seen the movie and I haven't, not watching it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing if it's Knives Out. It's another. Dune is not exactly a mystery.
Yeah, but if they've already seen it, I don't like to be the one in the dark.
Takes away a little bit of the thrill.
It does for some reason for me. And they get really mad at me for that. I say, "Oh, you've already seen it? I'm not watching it then."
It must be difficult to pick out movies with you.
It is.
There's never been a can of worms they didn't open. The Riot, Radio U.
Spring break coming up. You got anything big planned, Isaiah?
I don't believe so.
Yeah. There's no such thing as spring break for work, unfortunately, for us. But spring break is coming up. Lots of people making plans, about to go have some fun, I'm sure. However, I'll tell you one place you should not go for spring break. That's Miami Beach, which you would think is a popular destination for spring breakers. The thing is, they don't want you. They said that in so many words. They literally said in a recent video from the city's government that was put out, they said to spring breakers, they said, "You just want to get drunk in public and ignore laws. We're breaking up with you, and don't try to apologize and come crawling back." They've introduced a lot of measures for this coming weekend and the following weekend to try to keep spring breakers away.
Does it feel as if this is going to be a bad idea for them?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to work.
I think it might do the reverse.
You think it's going to
It almost feels like a spring break advertisement.
A challenge?
There's people right now that were like, oh, I didn't even think about spring break yet.
Yeah.
Good thing Miami put out this big ad saying don't come here because it's been so much fun in the past.
Yeah.
I guess I better book my trip.
But I will tell you that if you are a spring break and you try to head to Miami Beach, it is going to get expensive for you because they are charging, it's going to be a $100 flat fee for parking, although you're probably Ubering around. So I don't know how much that will do. Parking garages are going to be closed. They really don't want any
Because you think if
cars.
you're on spring break,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody on spring break has just a vehicle that they drove there.
Yeah.
You would never fly.
Yeah. They also, now this could be more detrimental to people. They're going to limit beach access with security checkpoints that will go on the sand. They just keep talking about the parking. They don't want people to park if you're not a resident of the area. And they're also going to be adding DUI checkpoints. There's also going to be a towing fee that will double to $516. So as long as you're not driving, it sounds
You're
like
good to go.
Yeah, that's right.
You are just like last year if you're not driving.
That's right. If you were just planning on Ubering anyways, Miami Beach not doing a whole heck of a lot to deter you.
Wide open.
Yeah.
But it seems like it is one of the premier destinations for spring break. It's like going down to Fort Lauderdale, Miami.
Yeah.
Down in that area, that's like the number one spring break spot.
It's one of the top places, I would think. I've never done that. So I don't know.
And you think about, too, even though they're saying they don't want it,
Yeah.
the tourism money it brings in, absolutely worth it.
That's what I'm thinking. That they can say they don't want it, and that either means that it really sucks that bad that they're ready to eschew all of the money they could be making off of it, or more likely, this is an excuse for them to charge a few extra tickets, make even more money off of it, and probably still not do a whole heck of a lot to deter the rowdy spring breakers from causing a ruckus. Which, at Miami Beach, how long have spring breakers been coming and causing a ruckus? Every single year since spring break probably existed.
And you be careful what you wish for. You know, you're not always, right now, Fort Lauderdale, Miami feels like it's like the spring break capital, but that's not always how it's been. At one point in time, everybody was going to Panama City.
Yep.
We remember that. And now Panama City no longer getting that tourism buzz that they were every spring break. And then who knows, in a couple of years from now, people might stop going to Fort Lauderdale and they'll go somewhere else.
There's got to be other cities that are just chomping at the bit to...
You're liking that this morning, huh?
Chomping at the bit. Is it chomping or champing?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Whatever they are at the bit to take over as the spring break capital of the world. So Miami Beach, watch out. NF.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
I've got bad news. A beloved retailer, possibly from your childhood, is reportedly going to be filing for bankruptcy this week. We're talking Joann Fabrics.
Big time crushing blow there.
Yeah. Moms and aunts everywhere probably really going to be torn on this one. Did your mom ever drag you along to Joanne Fabrics? As
I've
a
never
child?
been to Joanne Fabrics.
Not once, huh?
Never once.
Did you ever go to like similar things?
I don't know what Joanne Fabrics is.
You don't know what there's some in town for now. It might not last very long, it sounds like. Joanne Fabrics, similar now. I went not too long ago, like a couple of years ago around Christmas trying to
get
buy
fabric?
Yeah, I needed fabric. But see, now it's called Joanne Fabrics. I don't even know how much fabric they even sell at this point. It's very crafty. It's just similar to Michael's and things.
I've been to Michael's.
Yeah, it's not all that different from Michael's, but I did go to Joanne. My mom, big sewer, even bigger sewers, my grandmother. And so whenever she was in town, it was a routine thing, and they didn't have Joanne Fabric as easily accessible, I believe, in Canada. So then it was like, oh, we got to go. We got to get the fabrics at Joanne Fabrics. And I spent a lot of time at Joanne Fabrics as a child. And now there's going to be so many children that will never get to possibly have that experience.
Do you think that Joanne Fabrics is going out of business because of the fact that younger people are not sewing?
I seem to feel like that was something that people got more into, like pandemic times. It was like you're at home and it's like a skill that can actually benefit you. So I thought some people got into it, but clearly not enough to save Joanne's.
Well, think about it this way, right?
Yeah.
When my dad was my age,
Uh-huh.
a bunch of people he knew knew how to sew.
Right.
Lots.
Yeah.
Like my mom, she knows how to sew. I'm
Right.
sure all of her sisters know how to sew.
Yeah, my mom knows how to sew, of course.
My girlfriend E does not know how to sew.
Yeah, I don't know if I know anybody my age that probably knows how to sew.
There's your answer. Joanne
Yeah.
Fabrics, they have no younger audience.
Which is probably why when I went a few years ago to get, it was Christmas shopping, the fabric, not the most prominent thing at Joann's anymore.
How does Joanne Fabrics pivot from fabric? It's in the name.
Yeah.
Like people are going to come there for what? Fabric and what else? Goodies? What do you turn to?
I remember them having a lot of Christmas ornaments and kind of just like, like if you go to Hobby Lobby, just like that kind of like home decor, signs that say yum or whatever, like that kind of thing is what I think Joanne, but there's only so much of a market for that. And I feel like, that's a very millennial market that you're going towards, and Gen Z not interested in the yum signs, I don't think. So,
Not interested in Joanne Fabrics.
No, yeah.
Should it be taught? It's not even taught in school.
Sewing?
Should sewing be taught?
It feels like people always need clothes, right?
Yeah.
But here's the answer to that. When is the last time it would have benefited you to know how to sew?
About a week and a half ago, a button popped off of my shirt.
Oh, wow.
My mom knows how to sew, and I
Yeah.
have her sew multiple things for me every single year.
Really?
That have rips in it. I've bought clothing
Actually,
with rips in it, and I know my mom sews, so I know she'll sew it up.
I was just thinking about this the other day. This wouldn't come up very often. I don't think this justifies it being taught in school, but imagine how helpful it would be if you knew how to like take in a hem or whatever it's called to like adjust your pants, the hem, like the length of your pants, instead of having to go to an alterations place, because whoever feels comfortable doing that, sorry to alterations people, but it's always an uncomfortable experience for me to do that. I wish I knew how to do it myself. Doesn't come up very often, but that would be a use case of where knowing how to sew and whatever would actually be good to do.
It just feels like there should be a class like at the end of your senior year that just teaches you multiple things like that. Because
Yeah.
I can tell you there's a lot of classes I took my senior year that I am not using today. But if I knew how to sew, I would use that at least a couple times a year. I'm not using any of those theories any times a year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You don't always have to agree with Isaiah to always disagree with Hudson. The Riot. Radio U.
Don't know if you saw this recently in India, a star-studded affair, a 3-day pre-wedding celebration for the son of Indian billionaire Mukesh Ambani. Some of the people in attendance included Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates. Rihanna performed a special concert for the event. A 3-day pre-wedding celebration with a who's who of billionaires and stars.
All for who again?
The son of Indian billionaire Mukesh Ambani. Isn't it crazy? He's Asia's richest man. I've never even heard of this person.
But everybody knows him.
Apparently.
He knows Rihanna.
Anybody who's anybody knows who he is.
When did they meet?
I wonder if he actually had met Rihanna or if he just offered quite the lump sum of money for her to show up, you know?
Because, then you start asking the question, does he speak English? Have they ever had a conversation?
You can't be the richest man in Asia without speaking English, right?
You think so? I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know much about this guy at all. But I know he had quite the gathering there. 3 days, a 3-day pre-wedding celebration. This isn't even the reception.
This is all before.
You think if the pre-wedding celebration is 3 days long and it has Rihanna performing, what's the reception for the wedding going to be like?
Like, who's going to be on there? How do you top Rihanna?
How do you top that? It's Lady Gaga and Taylor Swift and the Rolling Stones all performing. How do you do that?
Should the celebration, maybe we should start doing pre-wedding parties. Doesn't it feel kind of wrong to have the celebration before the wedding, though?
It does, yeah.
Feels weird.
Because how many weddings wind up not going off, you know? That's something that happens occasionally. So then you're celebrating for nothing. But then if you're somebody who invited and traveled to the wedding, then you're like, well, at least I got to celebrate.
Well, I feel like most weddings end up going on.
Yeah, I guess most.
I've never been to a wedding where it's been called off the day up.
Okay.
Like, oh, she's gotten cold feet.
Maybe that's not the reasoning. Okay.
But I think wouldn't everybody be way less nervous for the wedding if you had a pre-wedding party?
Yeah.
It would calm the nerves. Maybe the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even the morning of. Maybe we need to have a party. Have the wedding at night.
Well, then you're starting to get into probably territory where how's everybody going to get ready in time if they're too busy, partying beforehand? That could be a little foible you run into. Also, then you could have people oversleeping, I think.
And you think about this too.
If the pre-party's too much.
So let's say the pre-party, maybe it's kind of like a little flip. You have everybody come to the pre-party and you're all good to go.
Mm-hmm.
She's got her dress on. Hair's done.
Yeah.
But she's not going to walk down the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
She's getting ready to go to a party. So then she's all hyped up.
Uh-huh.
She gets to dance, do whatever, and then you walk down the aisle after you've been hanging out, dancing with everybody for a while. You've broken the ice, walk down the aisle, make it a quick little to-do, and then right back to the party. Seems like a foolproof plan.
I'm concerned. Here's my concern, is that if you start having the party before the wedding, then people are they're gonna come for the party and they're gonna leave before the wedding happens. Because if you get
that's my preferred.
Yeah, that's right. If you get the fun part out of the way first, who's gonna stick around for the boring part?
Maybe you just have the family stick around for that part.
That's the only people who really want to be there anyways.
Exactly.
And even they, questionable.
You're like, all right, well, thanks for partying with us, guys. We're going to go ahead and just do this quick wedding thing real quick with my family. You guys made this way easier.
Kind of like a funeral service.
There you go.
You invite everybody to the church to remember, but then only the select few go put them in the ground.
Precisely. We need to start modeling our weddings after funerals.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram at RadioU Riot.
Isaiah, you might want to go ahead and open up the Riot hotline for this one.
877-2-RADIO-U.
It's a question I actually heard JR and Lex asking last night. If you were going to go back to high school and do it all over again, what would you change about your experience? What would you do differently? I'll give you some backstory. The reason it came up is because JR is back in a classroom for the first time in years. He is learning Spanish. He's taking a Spanish class, like not even on an app, like with a person. He's got a teacher. And so the question is then, starting to think about going back to school. If you, for some reason, had to go back to high school, maybe it came out that you didn't meet your requirements and you're not allowed to be a RadioU DJ anymore unless you finish your high school. What would you do differently if you had to go back and do college or a high school all over again?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I had a pretty good high school experience.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot I would change, but I have a couple things that I probably would have done differently. My social life was pretty good.
Uh-huh.
I'm happy with the friends that I made.
Yeah.
I was a social guy. But classes-wise, I would have mixed that up a little bit.
Oh, classes. What classes would you do different?
I would not have taken all of the AP classes that I took
Mm-hmm.
that ended up giving me credits in college, which were nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have taken vocational classes.
That's smart. I feel like that's smart.
I could have, if realistically,
Mm-hmm.
in high school, if you take a bunch of vocational classes
Yeah.
instead of some of the other useless classes,
Yeah.
you could graduate with a certificate
Yeah.
for a trade right then.
Right.
You could have a 2-year degree or a certificate that could help you make extra cash on the side.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Side hustle, even if it's not what you want your career to be.
So probably would have done a little bit more trade work. Maybe followed my father's
I thought you
footsteps.
said fathered your own children.
No, followed in
High
my
school would be an early
father's
start for that.
footsteps. Maybe gone into the electrician business.
Yeah. Well, it's too late for you to do that now.
It's not too late for me.
8772 Radio U. I'm curious what other people would say about this, because obviously everybody's high school experience different. So the answers on this got to be wildly different. I obviously, Jaron Lex asked this last night. I still got to think about it a little more, but I'll share my thoughts coming up next. What would you change about your high school experience if you have to do it all over again?
There's never been a can of worms they didn't open. The Riot, Radio U.
JR is back in a classroom. He's learning Spanish. So he's thinking of, kind of reminiscing about his high school days, what he would do differently. For me, the big question for me, Isaiah, has to be, would I go to an actual high school if I had the chance, or would I be homeschooled all over again? Right? That's the big question for me. And I think about this, right? I think the grass is always greener. So it definitely feels like I would be better off if I had went to an actual high school. But then I think it's like the grass is always greener. But then think about this. How many people went to high school that like look back and like, man, I wonder how things would be different if I was homeschooled? Who does that?
I don't know if anybody does.
Exactly. Which
I've never thought that.
Yeah, right. You went to an actual school. So the only thing I could do is I'd have to go to high school, because I don't think that I don't. This sounds like it's discrediting my mom. It's not, but I don't think I would have turned out stupider if I went to high school, actual real high school. And I feel like I might be. And homeschoolers are going to hate to hear this, but I feel like I might have been a little more socially prepared for the world if I had gone to a real high school. I think if I had to do it all over again and I was given the chance, real high school for me. No homeschool.
I feel as if, and it's different for everybody with the whole homeschool thing.
Yeah.
I feel as if you were properly equipped for public school, for any school, whether it's private or
You think
public.
I just exactly? I would have thrived anywhere.
I think that I think some people work better in a homeschool environment. I think you could have done it either way.
Yeah, I'm versatile in that
You
way.
are. You're a versatile guy.
What's that word? Smart, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if that has
maybe
anything to
a
do with
little
it.
bit. I would have ran circles around the public school kids. Dee said similarly, when she was given the opportunity to go to a different high school, she would have switched to a better school. And Regina says, I think I would have gotten into theater sooner. I was in one play sophomore year, but didn't really go out for it until middle of junior year. But after that, I was involved with all the productions the rest of the time. So something she found she liked, I guess, and just didn't get into it soon enough. That's the other thing. It's not even about like the school part of it for me, but I think there's different, like, again, social stuff. I went to high school that I could have gone into. Maybe I would have gone into theater. Maybe I wouldn't have played a sport. I suck at sports. But maybe I would have had debate club. Maybe that would have been for me. There's homeschool versions of that, but that's way weirder. It would have been better. It would have been something that I would have possibly gotten into versus there was no way I was ever getting into it, doing homeschool.
Philip says I would have gotten into IT a lot sooner. That's a great answer. That's a fantastic answer.
That is a good answer. That's smart. My mom said, she's listening. She said, I'd be stupider if I'd gone to public school. Well, that's not giving me much credit, is it, Mom?
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
This is something that's close to my heart, too. Actually, I feel like it's close to your heart as well. Isaiah, Gen Zers and younger are facing a blindness epidemic.
Blindness?
Yeah, blindness.
Sounds like one of the top worst things that could happen to you.
Yeah, not great. This is according to Dr. Bjorn Jorgensen. He's a world-renowned eye surgeon at the Laser Eye Clinic in London in the UK. And he is saying that basically because of all the time spent on phones and screens, coupled with the fact that children do not go outside as much as they used to, is leading to a massive increase in nearsightedness among young people.
So we're not talking about actual blindness here. We're talking about people who need glasses.
It can lead to blindness.
Talking about glasses or blindness.
And I think if you talk to an eye doctor, I don't know if they would say this. I feel like any type of not being able to see perfectly may be considered blindness.
But when you
It's
say
just
blindness,
not curable, but fixable.
like people,
treatable.
So in this case, you're blind.
Yeah, but I'm not a good example because in any case, I'm blind, pretty much.
So we're not talking about people that actually can't see, but people that can't see correctly.
Yeah, but it's massively. Yes, but it's getting massively out of hand, and in extreme cases, nearsightedness, like this myopia, they call it, can lead to blindness. For example, look at this. A study from California says myopia has spiked 59% among teenagers as of late. That's not good.
I know why this is, though.
Yeah, it's because people are looking at screens near to them, and they're not going outside getting sunlight, which helps your eyes grow properly.
You would think that.
Yeah.
You would.
That's what the leading laser eye surgeon said.
But let me go ahead and fix him up here.
Okay.
He's trying to boom sales. The reason that 59% of teenagers, it's up, right?
Yeah.
Skyrocketing, is because more people now than ever are getting their eyes checked at a young age.
Oh, so you think that?
It's going to skyrocket.
So you think there's been people that couldn't see this whole time and they just never went to the doctor for it?
Precisely.
They just went through their life with fuzziness.
I know this because I myself never been to an eye doctor. I've never got my eyes checked. I've never been asked if I needed glasses because my parents aren't taking me to that. I was never taken to the eye doctor. Where now I think being taken to the eye doctor is a more regular thing for young children.
Maybe it's a more regular thing because they can't see. Right?
I think it's just one of those things that you do now.
When you were in school, you take that little, like they give you an eye test, right? Mm-hmm. They'd have somebody like come in or whatever. The nurses and if you failed that, your parents would have taken you to the eye doctor, right?
I don't know. They never asked me. They never asked me what I did.
But if they failed, they would have like said something, and then you would have had to go. And now kids are failing in school. They're not failing like the test, but they're failing the eye test. And so then they have to go to the doctor and get glasses and whatever. Because
then I think about this as well. They talk about kids seeing so many screens nowadays and not going outside, which I understand. They want kids to go outside. I feel like kids still go outside, but with playing sports and things like that, they're still spending time outside.
Way, didn't help me.
What, not going outside?
I spent a lot of time outside.
Here you are.
Look at me.
Look at your eyes.
Can't see a thing.
And obviously before, even as I was a child, what did I do all day? I was looking at the TV screen and the computer screen.
Yeah, and look at you.
My eyes are perfect.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't really know what they are because I've never been tested, but they're working.
Yeah. Well, just a warning for you. Step outside. I always say this. I say step outside. Get some fresh air.
Get some fresh air.
Yeah.
It's the cure for everything.
It is.
If you ask any doctor, you got to just see the sun.
Yeah.
If you hang out outside all day, with sunscreen on, of course.
Yeah.
Because the sun's the worst thing for you.
Yes.
But you need to be out there.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.